Episode 4, Multiplication. In the dim confines of his prison cell at the Ravencroft Institute, time seems to keep getting slower for Eddie Brock. However, in this time period, Eddie has received great clarity. He has been making great progress reforming in Ravencroft without the symbiote, without it to feed on his hatred. His anger for Peter Parker and Spider-Man is on a much smaller scale. All Eddie wants now is to move forward with his life and go to the next positive direction without the symbiote's hatred to affect him anymore. However, while Eddie seems to be making great progress in his sessions with Dr. Kafka, who notices how much he is improving, there is another prisoner who does the opposite, Cletus Cassidy. He will be bunkmates with Eddie, but unlike Eddie, who is trying to move forward with his life, Cletus is still wanting to get out and cause as much chaos as possible. We learn that Cletus was arrested for 7 murders. Though not on a large scale, he still has an appetite for destruction. He will be hearing about Eddie's sessions about how he used to be Venom and wanting power. Cletus wants the power just like Eddie to get out there and destroy Spider-Man. He sees Spider-Man as a challenge, a prey for him to overcome. But Eddie will try to not let Cletus get in his head, and eventually he is pardoned from Ravencroft after a few months for good behavior. This will allow us to see where Eddie was during the time of Season 3. It will be around this time that we see what the symbiote has been up to. Without a host to guide it, ever since it's been crawling through the sewers, it follows Eddie's trail to Ravencroft, but he is nowhere to be found. In search of a host, the symbiote does something that it's never done before. It reproduces to create the Carnage symbiote. But the Venom symbiote then leaves, searching for Eddie. It needs Eddie. The symbiote will be almost given a character, which was expanding upon its character in the first 2 seasons, as it searches for its one and true love, Eddie Brock. Cletus will be on the ground, and the symbiote senses his chaos, his need to cause anarchy, and the Carnage symbiote bonds to Cletus, covering his entire body with red slime. Cletus laughs maniacally as his entire body is coated by the symbiote. Maniacal laughter fills the entire prison cell, as he is no longer Cletus Cassidy, now he is Carnage. Carnage overcomes all the prison guards, knocking them left and right, cutting some of their throats off, before Carnage overpowers several thugs, guards, and breaks out of Rikers. He is determined to find a place where he can cause as much chaos as possible. The only thing standing in his way is Spider-Man, and this sets up Cletus's mission for this portion of the season. He wants to drag Spider-Man, New York's hero, down to his level. He wants to cripple him and make sure the people have no more hope for Spider-Man. And Carnage races off into the night. We cut back to Eddie, who, after being let out on the streets, is still miserable. He barely has anything. There is not much he has to live for. There is no other life for him outside of Venom. Now that he's cured, he has nothing to do. Eddie still has that small bit of hatred for Peter, and the loneliness he feels is beginning to happen. He has no apartment. He lost his job at ESU. There is nowhere for Eddie Brock to go. And he is redirecting that anger at the only person he blames, Spider-Man. And sensing this, the last remnant of the Venom symbiote comes. It surfaces out of a sewer in front of Eddie. Eddie begs the symbiote to stay away. He doesn't want it anymore, but the symbiote doesn't listen. It feeds off Eddie's hatred and turns him into Venom. Venom declares that they are going to destroy Spider-Man again, but they might need some help along the way, which brings Venom into contact with Carnage. Venom spots Carnage after seeing his trail of destruction, and Venom proposes that they could truly destroy Spider-Man, but only if they worked together. Then together, they could finally make Spider-Man pay. And Carnage agrees because of his need for chaos. Both Cletus and Eddie have agreed to this plan and are prepared to wreak as much havoc on Spider-Man. Peter arrives at the Daily Bugle to pick up his paycheck. As he is walking out the front door, Jameson holds him back, informing him that there have been reports of Venom causing trouble and needs Spider-Man to go check it out. Peter says he'll get right on it and quickly rushes out the door. He thinks it's weird that Venom hasn't been seen in ages. And why would he be back causing trouble now? We cut to Spider-Man later swinging through the city looking for any sign of Eddie, but he can't find anything. He'll be thinking about how he failed Eddie. Eddie was his friend, and now that if he's back on the loose, this could be bad news. Spider-Man will be saving people when he gets a text from Gwen asking if he wants to hang out. Peter ignores the text, knowing that he can't afford himself to get close to her ever since what happened, when suddenly his spider sense goes off rapidly. As Peter turns around to determine what could have caused this, he is smacked by a blunt metal instrument. Spider-Man falls to the floor as part of his costume is teared, but he barely manages to stick the landing by shooting a web, getting himself to safety. As Spider-Man looks up, searching for what the hell just hit him, he suddenly sees a dark figure emerging from the shadows of the crowd. Only his red eyes can be seen, as his monstrous tongue is shown. Spider-Man then finally calls out his name. Eddie? He asks. The figure laughs, saying they are not Venom. They are something far more deadly and far more dangerous. They are Carnage. Carnage laughs as he steps into the light. Spider-Man realizes that it can't be Eddie, because Eddie doesn't set off his spider sense. As Spider-Man lunges at Carnage, they engage in battle. However, Carnage proves to be a difficult challenge. He is brutal, ruthless, deadly, and dangerous. However, Peter senses some sort of familiarity in the fight, as if he's fought Carnage before, or has fought his symbiote at some point in his career. Peter is clearly outmatched, though. With every hit, Carnage seems to laugh. The symbiote begins breaking his suit, grazing him, making him yell out in pain with every blow. Cletus is enjoying the violence. He starts killing hundreds of people. Not hundreds because it's a kid's show, but several people. Peter is on the floor and begs for him to stop. Carnage says he's not going to kill him. Not yet. But they are going to make this fun. And before Peter can say anything, he is knocked out and stabbed by Carnage's blade. Peter wakes up in a swarm of blackness. He doesn't know what to do, and eventually there is a light turned on. Spider-Man wakes up to see they're in some sort of sewer. He tells Carnage to come out and face him, but someone else comes. Peter looks in horror. "Oh my God," he says. "Eddie?" "Hello, Peter," Venom says, as the episode ends.